everyone, we're back! Welcome to another episode of Happening Now with me, Tim. So much has happened over the last 2 weeks, so I'm going to, as fast as I can, a lightning 45 minutes that I'll hopefully cut down to 3. Talk about some of the big stories that have happened over the last few weeks. First, we start with a vaccine update. People are still getting shots, which is great, but it was revealed that CVS and Walgreens have been wasting a ton of vaccines. So, President Biden is forcing them now to give out shots without any appointments necessary. If you still need a shot, you should be able to walk into most CVS and Walgreens that offer the vaccine with no appointment and receive the shot. Also, there was an update on President Biden's proposed infrastructure package. It is no longer $2 trillion, it's now $4 trillion, with $2.3 trillion being the job package that we discussed earlier. And then they added a $1.8 trillion family package, to which Republicans told Democrats that if they play their cards right and they wine and dine them well enough, they would be willing to agree to 1/8 of that budget. Republicans, always caring, always loving, always looking out for everyone, unless they make less than $10 million a year. And finally, it was reported on Thursday morning that Facebook is upholding Trump's ban from the platform, which is good, but not nearly as interesting as seeing these pictures of Trump out of office. I mean, look at these. He looks horrible. He somehow looks older than Biden, who, on a side note, looks incredibly young when he's sitting next to the 90-year-old Carters. Also huge. I mean, is Rosalind Carter 3 feet tall, or is Biden 7 feet tall? Sadly, it's just a fisheye lens and Biden sitting in front of her chair, making her look very tiny. Stupid optical illusions. Moving on, let's jump over to the topic of rich people freaking out over nothing. There has been a lot of talk about President Biden's plan to increase taxes on corporations and the wealthy. And while we've already gone in depth on the proposed tax increases for corporations, some might still be wondering about the tax increases for the wealthy. If you're one of those people freaking out and you're watching my show, rest assured, none of this is going to affect you. Just trust me on that one. Now, there are a few points to keep in mind when it comes to the proposed tax increases on the rich. First, if you make less than $400,000 a year, there will be no increases to your tax rate. And even if you do make over $400,000 a year, you're not all lumped together. The tax rates will increase the bigger the salary gets. So somebody that makes $450,000 a year is going to be paying a smaller rate than somebody that makes $1 million a year. If you make over $1 million and you're still mad about this, you might want to check yourself into a rehab facility, because I think you might be addicted to money or whatever your money is buying. Just so you can get an idea of how few people this affects, it was reported recently that the proposed tax increases would only truly hit the top 0.7% of earners. Just look at this map to see how little it would affect anyone in the country. In fact, the most people that would be hurt by this live in hard blue states like California and New York, making it weird to me why Republicans would fight so hard to stop something that practically doesn't affect anyone in their base in any way, shape, or form. We'll see how this continues to play out down the road, but as of now, I have a feeling that the 0.7% are going to use every last dollar they can spare to make sure that we pay more and that they continue to pay the same, or hell, even less, if that's possible. And now for a Tim Time break. Moving on to our last story, we look at the Republican leadership in the House of Representatives. Representative Liz Cheney has been in hot water recently with the Republican Party because of her vote to impeach then President Trump and her negative comments following Trump's exit from office. All of her comments stem from his actions on the January 6th insurrection and his inability to accept the election results. Now, this is a big deal because Cheney is third in command for Republicans in the House. A position that nobody knew was a thing until now. You don't believe me? As quick as you can, tell me who's third in line for Democrats in the House. Wrong. It's Representative Clark. Or Jeffries. Honestly, it's super confusing. Cheney's comments have upset some of the other Republican leaders in the House, none more so than California Representative and leader of the "If we could physically love Trump, we would" club, Kevin McCarthy, who is trying to replace Cheney with somebody that won't step out of line. Even if there is an insurrection in the name of the person you're trying to cuddle with every night. And to her credit, Cheney has stood by her words, with sources close to her saying, quote, she feels at peace with where she has stood on the election on January 6th and her comments about Trump, and that it's not worth trying to keep the leadership position if it requires her lying about the election or the events that have transpired leading up to January 6th. And that is huge. Not just because it's weird to hear somebody with the last name Cheney do something positive for a change, but also politicians need to remember that they are simply representatives. They are sent to DC to carry out the message of the people that they are representing, not to carry out the message of their party. Something that they'll start to comprehend, hopefully, within my lifetime. So, will Cheney be ousted from her number 3 leadership role in the Republican Party? Probably yes. Everybody seems pretty set on that happening. However, will changing her out for somebody endorsed by Trump affect the party in the midterms? Is becoming the party of Trump the right move for Republicans, or will it send them the way of the Whigs? My guess is it's not the best move, but what do I know? Anyways, that is our show for this week. Thank you so much for watching. Good news really quickly from last week. I only had mild symptoms after my second COVID shot. So if you're on the fence or you're nervous about getting that second shot and you already have your first, just know it's gonna be totally fine. And it's really, really nice being on the other side. All right, everyone, I'll see you next week. Ciao.